Okay, good evening, everyone. So, welcome to our talk show about studying abroad. And surely this talk show is presented by me, Naufal, and then Iyas, Abel, Anissa, Yaya, and Yaya. So, actually, in this talk show, we will discuss about the preparation until the thing that we should do when we studying abroad. So before we start our talk show, let me to introduce our speaker today. She is Kanadia. Hello, Kanadia.
Hi.
Okay, maybe you can introduce yourself to us.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Naufal. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Nadia Safiana Rahma, but you can call me Nadia. I am currently a student at UNY, majoring English education, and talking about studying abroad. Um, I was actually an exchange student to America in 2021 until 2022 under the program KLES, or Kennedy Luger Youth Exchange and Study. I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Kanadia. Such a beautiful introduction. So let's start our talk show. Okay, the first session is about pre-departure, and the question will be delivered by Nissa.
All right, thank you for the time, Noval. So, Kanadia, before we jump into your life abroad, maybe you can start by sharing a bit about your preparation process. Like, what did you do about, before leaving? What kind of research did you do about America, and what made you decide to choose America as your study destination? Like, feel free to tell us the whole story, your thoughts, your motivation, everything.
Okay, thank you, Nisa, for the question. Yes, talking about study abroad, I think the preparation is one of the important things that we need to do, right? So for me personally, I think what I did back then, I did research about the program itself, the program that you want to apply for, the program that you will join, because it will affect how what will you do during the program itself. For me personally, because my program is about intercultural exchange, right? So it's not focusing 100% about academic. So, oh, I know that this program focus on the culture exchange itself. So, yes, I did research about the program. What is the goals? Because if you really know about the program, it's gonna be it's gonna be easier for you to do all the process, the interview, and then all the selections process, because it'll make yourself aligned with the program itself, because you want them to know that we are actually the good candidate for that program. Please do research about the program itself. And for the question, why did I choose America? If you want to get the honest answer, because okay, I know that studying abroad is expensive, right? I don't have that much money to do it. So okay, that means I need to get the scholarship. And apparently the scholarship that offered to me back then was just for American country. So I was like, okay, that's the only option. But I feel like beyond that, I feel it's really interesting to know about America more, because I know most of us know that America is about New York City, big city, and then the Hollywood movie that we watch, the Western movie. But I'm sure that there must be the culture or something behind it that people, not all everyone knows about it. So I feel like it's a really good opportunity for me to actually learn more during the program, during the study abroad itself. So yes, that's it. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Kanadia. So we'll move to the next question about the first day abroad, the arrival experiences that will be delivered by Yaya.
Okay, thank you. So because you already shared about your preparation, now let's talk about the moment you actually arrived. Alright, what were the first things you did on your very first day there? And can you tell us about your first impression? Like what surprised you and how you felt stepping into a completely new place? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So the first thing that I did when I arrived, that's actually a good question. So here's the thing: the first place that I arrived, Washington D.C., the capital city, um, and then we stayed there for a night with some of Indonesian friends. Before on the next day, we'll actually have the flight to our placement. My placement, it was in Washington State. It's like 5 hours away from Washington D.C. If we talk about the first thing that I did in Washington D.C., of course I was so happy, right? And then the first impression that I got, oh my gosh, like everything different, and there are a lot of things that we don't have here in Indonesia. So I was really impressed. Can you imagine like the village kid like me? I'm from Bantul, so it's completely different thing that I saw there. But I remember the first night that I got, I was crying because because I realized at that moment I realized that, oh my gosh, like I am actually far away from my parents. What if I don't get any friends? What if I cannot adapt? All the overthinking happens in my head at that moment. So the first thing that I did, basically cried at because somehow it's kind of scary for me. But then the day after, I flew to Washington State actually to meet my host family, and that was really fun, even though that's scary as well. But I remember that the first thing I did, I asked a lot of questions because there are so many different things. I asked more like from the really simple question like, oh, how we iron the clothes, like how should I do every day, what kind of job they have, or like the normal thing for them, but it's just different for me. So yeah, I ask a lot of questions there, and I adapt with all the situations, including I was scared of cats, but my host family got three cats, so yeah, I adapt with the cats as well. That's the first thing that I did. So, yes. That's the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Canada. It's really interesting when I heard that you came from Bantul, actually. Okay, we'll move to the next question about the adapting to a new society and culture that will delivered by Abel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Naufal. Okay, Kanadia, we actually want to hear about your adaptation process. Like, what cultural differences or culture shocks did you experience, and how did you deal with them? You can just be honest and share the funny moments or the awkward ones and the challenges, just everything that shaped your experience living in a new culture.
Okay, good question. Thank you, Abel. Yeah, there are so many culture shocks that happen, of course. As I mentioned before, I was curious, how do they iron the clothes? But apparently, they don't iron the clothes. We always iron our clothes, right? But they don't, because from the machine, it will directly, come out clean. So it's a thing. But if I need to wrap up all the culture shock that I got, I feel like one word to describe the culture is freedom that they have there. It doesn't mean we don't have freedom in Indonesia, but it's just completely different with the freedom that they have over there. Freedom in any kind of things in our life. For example, freedom of speech. I feel like Americans are more open. They are more vocal with what they think, with what they if they want to say something, they will say it. And I remember I got this one class that's really active. In the class they can actively discuss something with the teacher, and then they ask questions, they share opinions, those kind of things, which is kind of different for me, because back then when I was in senior high school, I was kind of like passive student. I won't ask questions if the teacher don't actually ask me to ask something, right? But there they even voluntarily ask questions, share opinions. So that's different. Whether it's in school, in household situation, in neighborhood, and family, kind of thing that happens all the time. They are more vocal, I think. And then another example for the freedom, I feel like they have freedom of dressing up. It is also something different than we have here. I feel like here in Indonesia we have this specific way to dress up. There are a lot of factors. Religious, Indonesia is a religious country, right? But yes, besides that, or in just politeness in general, we have this certain of dressing up way. And in America, I feel like they can express their self through the dress that they wear. They can choose to wear whatever they want without fear of being judged by other people, which is something that we don't have here, right? And I feel like that's actually a good thing for some reason, um, because we can explore ourselves more over there, right? But still, um, sometimes the differences that happen here and there we cannot directly apply that here in Indonesia, right? Because we need also to see the people around us. So yes, the freedom of dressing up. And then the last thing, talking about freedom, it's kind of sensitive for some people, but this is actually happening over there, is freedom of sexual orientation, or we of course know LGBT Q plus. Sometimes they also call it Q plus, other Q plus. So I feel like the way we see that thing LGBT is really different with the way they see LGBTQ plus over there. They support that, they normalize that, and you can clearly see everywhere people support LGBTQ. Meanwhile, it's completely different. It's completely opposite thing that what we see from the eyes of the nation, right? So it is something strange for me, and I was kind of shocked when I know that fact. So yes, yeah, the freedom itself, I think, is the biggest culture shock that I got. And talking about how did I overcome that, I feel like the the really important thing to face the difference is to respect them, because I feel like if we respect them, they will also respect our choice. And realize that I was the only in my school, in the really big school, I was the only Muslim girl. I'm the only one who wear hijab as well. So it's, people can notice me really easily because I was different from my appearance, right? So yeah, if I respect them, I believe that they will respect me as well. And then the second thing that I feel really important to do is to filter everything. Respect doesn't mean we support them, right? Because of course we have to filter that. For example, in the case of LGBTQ plus, it is something normal there, but I cannot normalize that. So that's why filtering everything that I got is really important. If I feel like, oh, it's not aligned my beliefs, okay, I respect the people, but that doesn't mean I support that. So yeah, respecting and also filter things to overcome the differences. I guess that's for me, Abel. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kanadia. And then we move to the last session about the academic life and then life studying abroad in America. So this question will be delivered by Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Naufal. So, guys, we reached the last question, but not least, really, let's dive into your academic journey. Nadia, I also ask you about like what is the most things that is challenging to you when you were studying in America, and how you
maybe Iyas have a trouble with their signal. So maybe I'll deliver the question for Canada. So the question is, what is the most challenging in the learning process that you face when studying in America?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Iyas and Naufal. So, the most challenging thing that happened, of course, maybe because we are Indonesian, right? So I got a little difficulties in the term of academic language, right? Because the language that they use, the teacher, they speak really fast. Sometimes I need to really pay attention so that I understand what they're talking about in the class. And then another thing that I think it's really hard, when it comes to um, critical thinking. I feel like the Indonesian high schooler, we're not used to a good critical thinking. As I mentioned before, if we need to ask something, sometimes we are confused. We want to ask, but we are confused, right? Meanwhile, I was forced to actually ask questions, to actually share my opinions, no matter how small the opinion is, but they really respect it. So at that moment, my biggest challenge is to, and at that moment, there is no GPT. So I actually need to think by myself. What kind of question I ask? What should I say after this? Because we need to contribute something in the class, right? So that's kind of hard for me to actually to think every day, and then to actually say something in the class and share my opinion in it. So that's kind of hard. But as time goes by, I think it gets easier and easier because okay, my brain, I think it's trained to think more. So as time goes by, it's getting better. So yes, that's the hardest part for me. Or wait, I have one to add. Actually, related to the academic thing that people don't talk a lot in America is that usually here in Indonesia we do sport outside the school, right? We have extracurricular, but in America it counts as academic thing. So people take sports seriously. It's fine if your score is not that good. If you are an athlete, you're good sport, you will easily get the university. So that you will find a lot of athletes there. And because of that, I enjoy sports. And apparently it's really hard because they really do it seriously like an athlete. Every day they do it after school. So that also a shocking thing for me because I didn't expect that it's going to be that serious about sport because yeah, it counts for the academic thing. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Canada. Okay, so maybe from the audience, do you have any question for Canada?
I have a question for Kak Nadia.
Okay, go ahead, Nadia.
Um, how did the university's academic system work there? Like, your class schedules and grading or attendance, and how different was it from your home country?
Okay, thank you, Nadia. We have the same. So thank you for the question. So yeah, in my experience, because I went to the high school, so the one that I can compare is about the right. So first thing first, the system is really different. We got the moving class system. It is similar like we got here in university. We did that in high school as well. So every period, like different period, we will move to different class, one to different other class. That's a thing. Second, the difference that they have in one class, it can contain of the ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or even 12th grade. So you will meet your juniors or seniors in the same class. So it's also new for me, I think. That's a thing. And then I feel like American school, they focus more on the practice itself, yes, they got like the math, English, but they also focus on the practice itself. Me personally, I joined it choir and then joined it photography class, and we actually did go outside to actually take pictures instead of talking about the theory in the class. I need food and nutrition. It like the class, if you can imagine, it's like master chef room on TV, but they have it in high, so that's fun. And yeah, and then also like there's art class, or even you can take like the wood class and this kind of thing. You make wood, this kind of thing. Yes, that's different. You can also choose your own subject. It's not like what we got usually in high school. You can choose whatever that you're interested to take to learn. You can take that. So that's really different. And I feel like the relation between the teacher and students also different than we have here in Indonesia. They are more close, I think, because we here in Indonesia we tend to be polite. We have the honorific name Miss, but you can basically call the teacher there by directly their name. So it's also different. And talking about grading, for the grading, it's not really different than what we get here in Indonesia. And the thing that I learned by learning here and there is that even though it's different, that doesn't mean this one is better than that one, or Indonesian is better, American is better. I think both are good, but it's just different. The American system, they are made for American, right? Indonesian system are made to Indonesian students. So yes, that's where. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kak Nadia.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Kak Nadia. Is that answer your question, Nadia? Okay. Okay, is there any question for the audience?
I have a question.
Okay, Rafif.
So, hello, Kak Nadia. My name is Rafif, and my question is, where did you live during your studies abroad? And I'm curious, was the dorm provided by the university, or did you have to find your own accommodation?
Okay, thank you, Rafi, for the question. Okay, so for my program, we didn't go to the dorm. Instead, we got our host family. So just imagine there is one American family, and then directly they adopt me as a child. And can you imagine how awkward was it? Like suddenly I live with them in their family. So yeah, I live in the house, like the locals' house. My family contains with my host mom, my host dad, and one little sister. So yes, I lived there for the 10 months. And what I did, of course, I did like what they did every day, basically. Just help them sometimes to do the chores, cleaning the bedroom sometimes, my own room, and then play with the cats. And yes, because I think it's such a privilege because living with the locals give me more experience, right? And yes, it's just a fun experience because they treated me like their own kid. So yes, I live with the host family in American house. That's the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kak Nadia.
Okay, thank you, Kak Nadia and Rafif. Is there any question from the audience?
Me. I have a question.
Okay, Ellen.
So my name is El, and I have a question for Kak Nadia. Have you ever had a moment that made you feel like, wow, I'm really living in a different country now?
Okay, thank you for the question. Of course, there are some moments that like realizing me, I actually live in different country. First, maybe about when I see my host fam for the first time, I feel like, oh my gosh, like I got new family in different place. So nice, I'm not alone here. So that's the first thing. And then the second, maybe when I saw my first snow, they have really different weather. There is the snow, which is one of my childhood dream, like everyone's dream, I think, to see the snow. So at that moment, the first snow that I saw, oh my gosh, it's actually really amazing to see snow and then to play with the snow. That's actually the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually really living in this kind of country. So yeah, that's a thing. And then maybe the last one, when I feel like my brain started to switch to English because every day I need to speak English, and I got no friends from Indonesia in my place. Like I was totally alone. So yeah, the moment I feel like, oh, my brain started to switch to English when I speak. So that's also the moment that I felt okay, like I am actually living in different country. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Canada. Is that answer your question, L?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, is there any question for the audience, from the audience? Okay, maybe last question from me. Uh, if you have another opportunities to study abroad, will you go to America, or maybe you want to try another country?
Okay, that's actually a really nice question. So, if I had a chance to do study abroad, I will probably try to go to the Europe because I just want to try something, right? And I feel like I also want to know their education system, how the university go there as a developed country, right? So yeah, I think I would choose Europe or UK probably. So yeah.
Okay, Kanadia. So I think that's all about our talk show today. Thank you for your participation to joining as a speaker in our talk show. And maybe we can end our talk show with a documentation, maybe? Abel or Nissa?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Kanadia.